Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. I'm Jeff Jackson, Attorney General for North Carolina. Just had the opportunity to meet with local law enforcement leaders, spoke with them about a wide range of issues. First among them being the rebuilding phase that we're in now post-Helene, a number of concerns, but also emerging concerns related to some things that we're seeing, some things that we're concerned about when it comes to keeping people safe while they're in the rebuilding process. Then we had a more general conversation about various public safety issues, fentanyl, methamphetamines, scams, unrelated but still prevalent in Western North Carolina. Want to get into a little bit of detail about that, but before I do that, want to make sure that I recognize the folks who are here and give some folks an opportunity to say hello. I'm really grateful that our SBI director, Director Hawley, joined us for this. He joined us because he understands that this is not just a regional priority, this is a statewide priority. SBI plays an instrumental role in making sure that law enforcement can do their job and keep people safe. And Director Hawley, if you would just join us up here, I would really appreciate it.
Thank you. Really appreciate the opportunity that the Attorney General and the Sheriffs and Chiefs and DAs of the state of North Carolina has offered us to participate. We want to make sure that we're a good partner. We want to make sure that we are doing what's right behind the citizens of North Carolina, especially in Western North Carolina, where they've been taken advantage of. We're going to make sure that we support Sheriffs, Chiefs, and DAs across the state and the Attorney General's ability to be able to make sure that we do great partnerships throughout North Carolina.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir.
And Sheriff Hackett, please. Our host today.
Well, thank you. This was much needed and kind of a surprising outcome with this, because we were able to involve our state and local entities that are here, and that's one thing that really helps us is our local partners, and this came together very well for us, and we appreciate the Attorney General's office and his staff for putting this together. And all of our partners are here except maybe for one. We even had our chairman of the county commissioners and one of another county commissioner who are a liaison with us, and we really, really appreciate it. There was a lot of good conversation that came out of it, a lot of things that we need to work on, but I feel very strong now that with the continued cooperation that we have and kind of coming together more on the state and local levels, that we're going to be in good shape. So thank you again, Mr. Attorney General.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Sheriff, please.
I would just like to say that I appreciate the Attorney General's support today and coming up here and just having the conversations of things about the things that we're facing, that we have faced during this Helene, as well as other matters that he has extended his support for, and it's always good to have that support from our perspective from the Attorney General's office. So thank you.
Very kind. Thank you. What you're seeing is law enforcement speaking with one voice. We are going to do everything in our power to keep people safe while they're rebuilding and beyond. We had a good conversation about some emerging concerns that we have. Property crime, always a particular concern, particularly in the aftermath of major natural disasters. Scams related to the recovery. Some folks holding themselves out as government officials, sometimes holding themselves out as law enforcement, sometimes pretending that they have access to special money like FEMA money. And then a conversation about the potential with respect to contracting fraud. Look, there's going to be a major demand for contracting in Western North Carolina. If you're a contractor, your services are in need, but you better treat people fairly. You better be honest. We are not going to tolerate at all any contracting fraud. Anyone who tries to take advantage of people while they are struggling to rebuild is going to face consequences. The law enforcement leaders that you see up here are shoulder to shoulder on that. There is no daylight between any of us when it comes to how we are going to scrutinize bad actors who are taking advantage of people in this time. A couple of specific pieces of advice for folks at home, specifically with respect to contractors. First, always get multiple estimates Second, get a written contract. You have a right to a written contract. And third, don't ever make the full payment up front. This applies not just to contracting, but to a wide range of potential scams. Some things that we're seeing is full payment up front is being demanded, and then either services are not being delivered or goods are not being delivered. If you want to negotiate some kind of down payment, you can do that. But anyone who demands full upfront payment, don't do that. At NCDOJ, we are launching our Safe to Rebuild initiative, which means we are prioritizing any and all complaints coming out of Western North Carolina. We've also set up a new website to help educate people about how to properly vet contractors, also alerting them to potential scams related to the recovery. That's at Safe to Rebuild on our website. We also just want to make sure that citizens at home who are struggling with the decision about whether or not to stay in Western North Carolina, asking themselves whether or not this is still the best place to raise their family, we want to send a very clear message to you. This is the best place for you to raise your family. We want you to stay here. Law enforcement is shoulder to shoulder to make sure that you and your family will be safe here, that you can rebuild your small business here. So for anyone who is on the fence about whether or not to rebuild, we want you to make the decision to rebuild here. We want you to know that you're safe to do that. Now, happy to take any questions.
Start on this side. WCNC.
You got, go right ahead.
Can we ask the sheriff some stuff?
Of course.
Mike, Glenn, have you seen people getting ripped off already? Have you seen some problems here in the high country? You guys tell me.
Has maybe some things that are a little bit more related. We've been fairly lucky here in terms of post-Helene, any kind of issues. As the Attorney General said, people need to be aware. That's the main thing, is to don't get caught in that trap and get ripped off. So from that standpoint, we are definitely, if we do have something come up, we know who to call now.
I would just echo what Sheriff Hageman said. We, not seen a tremendous uptick in fraud as it pertains to construction fraud. We anticipate that may increase, due to the building season coming on. So, our objective is just to get ahead of this, and I think that's what the Attorney General's objective is to get ahead of this and educate folks, on being cautious, how they handle getting repairs and those type things that have come as a result of this storm, and just to be aware that there are unscrupulous characters out there that will come in and take advantage of any situation. So this is just an effort to educate our folks and another way to keep our communities safe.
And just to follow up on that, we're in a scam-heavy environment right now. We had a discussion about lots of different types of scams that folks are seeing. Our major concern is that this is going to become a type of scam that's going to hit the community, going to hit Western North Carolina. We are trying to get ahead of it by letting folks know to have their guard up, but also to let folks know, to let potential criminals know who are thinking about trying to take advantage of people, that they will face the consequences. Yes.
Say someone was victimized, 6 or 7 months ago. Could they still come forward and expect an investigation?
Yeah, absolutely. If you feel that you have been a victim and it was maybe earlier in the aftermath of the hurricane, be in touch with our office. We will run it down.
Attorney General, I know you said it's a scam-heavy situation right now, and we're also dealing with, all over the state, AI with RealPage. I'm curious, I know you reached a settlement with one of those landlords today, what the impact of that is as well, especially on renters, and just that increase in AI that we're seeing.
Our office took to court a handful of landlords who we believe were unlawfully using artificial intelligence to raise people's rates. We just announced that we've reached a settlement with respect to one of those landlords. It's a major landlord. The use of artificial intelligence here was basically to allow price fixing. So a group of landlords, they are not allowed to meet in the back of a restaurant and decide what rates to charge, but they were essentially using artificial intelligence as a stand-in for that type of in-person meeting, allowed them to share proprietary information to the detriment of renters. That is just one way that we are starting to see artificial intelligence used. Another is voice duplication technology. So folks are getting a call from someone who sounds exactly like their grandson, saying, "Grandpa, I was just arrested. I need you to send me some bail money. And I need it to be in cryptocurrency or something like that." And it's a combination of AI plus cryptocurrency that's opened up a new tsunami for scams that's going to require a lot of public awareness and education.
When it comes to scams after Helene, we have heard complaints like things like people ordering heavy machinery to try to rebuild and then not getting that machinery, things like that. Can you talk about that and what people can do to prevent getting in a situation like that?
A lot of scammers try to focus on big ticket items because they only have to do a couple of scams to make a significant amount of money, which is why we're seeing a lot of reports with respect to heavy equipment. And either payment is being made in full and nothing is being delivered, or some variation on that. This goes to being extremely cautious with respect to in full upfront payments. Also, when this stuff crosses state lines, we've seen an uptick in those instances being fraudulent as well.
Following the storm, what have you all seen in terms of like looting or any property crime?
I was meeting with someone rebuilding their restaurant a few weeks ago in this region, and there were some cameras there, and he pulled me away from the cameras because he didn't want them to hear what he was going to tell me. He said, "I'm about to take delivery of some copper pipes because my restaurant was destroyed and I have to replace all my pipes, and I don't want anybody knowing because I'm afraid that they'll be stolen." There have been some reports of theft from construction sites, particularly during this phase of the rebuilding when more expensive equipment is starting to get delivered. So we want folks to be aware that that's a real threat, but we also want criminals to know if you engage in any looting, you will face the consequences. You are looking at shoulder-to-shoulder law enforcement from this entire region. You will face consequences. Anything else?
Will this alleviate landlord and renter tension? I know I've heard personal anecdotes with landlords not making the state of their buildings known to renters and then having Helene come in and then just condemning those buildings. So will this try to prevent that?
Well, I think that's something I would have to learn a little bit more about, but it's something my office is happy to consider. So if there are any reports or complaints of buildings that are substandard and deficiency, particularly if it's a public health concern, what I would like people to do is report those to our office. We will prioritize those complaints and we'll respond quickly. You got it. Anything else? Anyone else here have any contributions? No? Open mic. Open mic. Okay. Very grateful for the opportunity to have this roundtable discussion. I should have mentioned we also had a good discussion about some trends that we're seeing with respect to fentanyl and meth. There's going to be a lot of coordinated law enforcement response. There already is, but we're looking at new ways that we can coordinate our response to help keep people safe. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate you very much.